Hello guys, I'm Colin. Today I'm going to talk about the best classes to farm, where to use them, and how to use them. I think this is a very interesting topic for many beginners since they do not know where to farm and how to farm and with what to farm. I'm going to start with my main, which is a Demon Hunter. I use him in dungeons such as Shadowfang Keeps, which is a classic set dungeon. Here you can use a Demon Hunter to jump over some parts and move faster in some other parts. I use these talents, but they don't help me at all. So the only talent that helps me from here is Nether Walk. You can use it to move faster for 5 seconds or to not die. But in when you're farming, dying is not an option. So you don't even you're not even able to die. Another spell that I use to move faster as a Demon Hunter, besides its mastery, which gives you movement speed already so you're fast enough and the double jump plus glide, is Spell Rush. This is a short distance traveler for you, and you can use it in mid-air also. And Vengeful Retreat is very good. Um, you cannot use a Demon Hunter in many dungeons or outdoor zones to farm because the only AoE spells are Fury of the Elidari, Eyebeam, which requires Fury, Blade Dance, which requires Fury, and Chaos Nova, which requires Fury. Other than that, the only kind of AoE is Throw Glaive and Fell Rush. But you would want to use Fell Rush in order to move faster and skip some of the parts in the dungeon. Uh, the Demon Hunter is also good for its, let's say, damage if you're farming something that is a higher level than maybe Wrath of the Lich King level, because since with the scaling the mobs have a way higher health, and if you want to farm something from Warlord of Draenor, the Demon Hunter will help you a lot. Okay then, let's move on to the Monk. The only classes that I have in order to farm are Demon Hunter, Monk, a Druid Trial which I use for outdoor zones, and the Rogue which I'm leveling right now. The Monk is usable mostly everywhere. Outdoor zones and dungeons, I think, is one of the best classes to farm with. It's one of the best. I think it's top tier when you farm, especially dungeons, for its mobility and way to taunt the whole dungeon with only one statue. I'm going to show you the talents because let's say they are important to some extent. So I'm on a tank spec, but you cannot see it because this loading screen is taking a while. Okay, so I'm on a tank spec, as you see, and the talents which I'm using are Chi Torpedo, which is a level 30 talent, Summon Statue, which is a level 60, and Rushing Jadewind, which is a level 90. I'm using Chi Torpedo to move faster, and the speed buff is 10 seconds, but you can stack it right in the last second. I see 0 seconds, I press it again, and I get 10 seconds again for 60% movement speed. This is a trick that you can use, and if you have enough haste, then I think you can keep on having 60% movement speed forever, since this will recover faster. The statue is very important, and Crackling J likes me. The statue instantly taunts everything in a dungeon or in an outdoor zone, and you can use it to get everything to you. The way you do it is you put a statue and then you just cancel it with a macro. And I'm going to show you the macro in a second, and I'll put it in the video description anyways. It's click totem frame totem 1 right bottom, and with this macro you just cancel it, and all the mobs that were aggroed by it will come to you. Rushing Jadewind is also a very important skill in low level zones and in dungeons, because after you get a lot of mobs, you don't want to kill them with Keg Smash or Tiger Palm or Exploding Keg or Breath of Fire. You want to kill him with Rushing Jade. It's an insta shot for low level mobs, and it really saves you a lot of time. Plus, Monk is also good to farm dungeons which are very long because you have Zen Pilgrimage, which is a it's not a talent, it's a basic spell of the monk. If you're 110, you use this after you finish a dungeon, and you get teleported to your class order hall. I do not know if that's the case for a monk that is not in the Legion content, that is like 99 or 100, but as a 110 you have Zen Pilgrimage, and it helps you a lot in order to get back to the dungeon and get here to your older hall, maybe mount on your vendor mount and sell some of the stuff that you got and is worthless. It has a 1 minute cooldown, yes, but it still saves a lot of time when you are in, let's say, Blackrock Depths, as you've seen before, or in Dire Maul. Goddamn, I have to do Dire Maul because I did Black Phantom Diggs, Blackrock Depths, and Dead Mines, and now I have to do Dire Maul. And this dungeon is very, very long, very many, a lot of chambers, a lot of mobs to kill, and I need to find the exact path to optimize your 10 runs and to get the best value. I'll have to check the loot tables for every mob also in order to give you the best path and the best way to kill them, but I think I'll do it with a monk for Zen Pilgrimage, Chi Torpedo, and so on, and Black Ox Sage. The monk is again top tier when you want farm, so if you want to make a farmer for dungeons or outdoor zones in general, you would want to make a monk. Now let's go on with a druid. If you already have a druid, then you have a farmer, at least for outdoor zones. I'm using a trial, a level 100 trial for vanilla zones and even Burning Crusade zones, because it's still a one-shot kill. I don't think I can one-shot in Wrath of the Lich King content, but up until Burning Crusade I one-shotted everything in. I farmed Black Tabby, I farmed mostly off STB's farm, and it has been very powerful. You know, the druid is very good when you're in outdoor zones, and it does feel like you're farming and you are doing something with it. I got so many money only from using trials of druid, and it's not an exploit or anything, you're just trying the class. The talents are pretty basic, but I'm going to show you what talents I'm using anyways. As you see, I'm in STB. So you want to farm when you're in zones with hyper respawn and many mobs respawning in the same place. You want to use Sunfire because it's an AoE, but when you have mobs that are single spawned and still a hyper spawn, you may want to use Moonfire, although Sunfire is still good, but they have the same yard range and I was used to farm only with Moonfire. The talents which I'm using are Warrior of Yulun. You can use this to get your next 3 Lunar Strike instant cast, but I don't use them. Displacer Beast, this one turns you into a cat and gives you a short dash plus a movement speed buff, so you might want to use this. Feral Affinity for the movement speed, you get a lot of movement speed, and I think that's it. And that's our community if you want to use Starfall in zones with a lot of mobs in one place, you know. As you see, I'm using Berserking here because when it's a hyper spawn, you always want to kill them as fast as possible, and Berserking gives you a haste buff for 10 seconds, 15%, and it's a lot. Druid has, like the monk, a spell which gets you to Moonglade, at least up until 110. This is a trial, so I don't have the class order whole one, but it doesn't matter because it's still good. If you want to get to farms like Winter Spring or Fellwood or whatever in this place, you know, if you want to get Firelander, Black Phantom Diggs, Ragefire Chasm, Waiting Cavern, and so on. Everything in this zone is good if you want to get there. The Bad part about druids is that you cannot use them in many dungeons, but you can use them in every outdoor zone farm, like STV in general, Black Tabby, or in Burning Steppes on the Black Rock Stronghold, and so on. It's very good. And now let's talk about my last farming class, which I'm leveling up right now because I was too lazy to do it before, and that's the Rogue. I already have a Rogue trial to open the lockboxes which I get, but I want to have a Rogue of my own. And you can use a Rogue in dungeons. I think you can use them in some outdoor zones, but mostly in dungeons with that are very stretched and, let's say, with not many mobs, but still a number that is very um, pissing for some demon hunters or druids, at least, you know. The Rogue has the Fan of Knives spell, which I don't even know what the level is. This is a level 29, so yeah. Anyways, you want to use Fan of Knives as a rogue in order to farm and to get your movement speed buff from Bear Tartar, because with a rogue you will be using Bear Tartar in order to farm. Farming with a rogue without Bear Tartar is useless. You are wasting so much time if you don't farm with a rogue in a dungeon without Bear Tartar. And you can also use Shadow Step if you are a subtlety or assassination. You can use, I think it has some spells that are like Shadow Step, I'm not sure. The sprint, it's on every spec, so you can use a sprint which has a very low cooldown. Again, a travel or spell which is very powerful. So if I would want to make a top on the farming classes, I think that I would have to put them in two categories. Let's talk about first about the dungeons. In dungeons, monks are the best, rogues are the second, demon hunters third, but they could be one in some dungeons such as Shadowfang Keep, and druids are the last ones. You don't want to farm with a druid in a dungeon. And now let's talk about outdoor zones. In outdoor zones, druids are the best, then are monks, rogues, and demon hunters are the last. The hunters are also good to farm in dungeons and outdoor zones, but I would use a demon hunter or a rogue or something else other than a hunter to farm. So yes, this is my top classes to farm video. I hope you like it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and comment if you have anything to say about these classes. What classes are you using to farm, and where are you using them? How are you using them? And tell me if you want to see me doing any new farms or any dungeons. Anyway, I'm going to continue my 11 off series, in which I take all the dungeons from Classic and Burning Crusade and so on, and do 10 runs, and then one run which I record and in which I show you the path and the loot that I got. So again, I hope you enjoyed. I'm Kolo, and see you in the next episode.